Hi there, I'm Dean Heskin, President and CEO of Swiss America Trading. Thank you for tuning into our podcast, The Secret War on Cash. If you've not received our report, The Secret War on Cash, it's totally free. You can contact us via telephone at 1-800-289-2646, or you can text us at 1-800-289-2646. And you can also visit us online at SwissAmerica.com. Chris, Secret War on Cash, we've been talking about that for... Secret War on Cash actually has been our longest running report that we've had in over 40 years in business here. And it's been updated, ladies and gentlemen, so it's not something...
Yeah, lots of revisions.
There's been a lot of revisions in the economy. There's been a lot of revisions, and so there's been a need to get that current, get it updated. So let's talk about some of the things going on right now. We are unfortunately still at war with Iran, okay? And there still is a battle for the Hormuz, okay? So we've got some problems brewing out there, Chris, I don't mind telling you.
Yeah.
One of the things I've enjoyed about doing this podcast, and certainly don't take this as though I am anything but a know-it-all. I'd be the first person to tell anyone that there is times infinity more I don't know than what I do know. However, I have been involved in the financial markets for a while, but it's crazy, like the new phrases and terms that you hear. And I mean, I've been doing this I've been here at Swiss America for 33 years, did investment banking prior to that. And you hear these things, I'm like, where did that term come from? And somebody just sneaks it in, but it's like, here, let me get to my point. This first article, I'll read the headline here. It is being projected that, quote, peak war panic, end quote. So it's in quotes because that's a thing. I never heard of peak war before. I don't know if you have. And I've been alive for a few wars. So anyway, it is being projected that peak war panic could hit the global financial system in 1 to 3 weeks. Now, peak war panic, simply put, in 1 to 3 weeks, we're going to basically, with this war, reach a breaking point that is going to have some serious repercussions to our financial markets, our economy, et cetera. They're saying 1 to 3 weeks. And I mean, they're saying that this is peak war panic. Well, oil is already up year to date 70%. Okay. Since the war, it's up 40%. So year to date 70. So it already started to move. Then we have this war, and that thrust it up another 40% since that happened. And now when they use this 1 to 3 week time period, Chris, as I read through this, the Israel Defense Forces, they're already preparing for 3 more weeks. So the 1 week, if we're going based off that, that's out the window. And they're again preparing for 3 weeks. So now, could anything happen in those 3 weeks? Sure. However, the other thing that they mention is there are still thousands of targets that are still ahead of them out there. Yeah. So I don't see, with that being said, I mean, the reason we're over there right now is because of Iran and all of the threats that they have, nuclear wise, et cetera. And how do you pull out at this point when you have that much vulnerability that still exists, potential vulnerability or potential threat that still exists out there?
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think it's going to end anytime soon. And I say that because I don't see President Trump just pulling out of this quickly just to get it over with. You know what I mean? I think he wants to see, the fruits of his labor in this case. And he really wants to make sure that Iran no longer has any nuclear capability for any time in the foreseeable future. I think he wants to get stable leadership in there that will, play nice with the U.S. and Europe. And so far, despite all the damage that the U.S. and Israel has done, Iran is, at least publicly, nowhere near surrendering and giving up. And every time I see President Trump on TV or Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, they keep reiterating, "Oh, this is gonna end soon," or we've accomplished so much, or they're on the verge of surrender, yet it's continuing forward. And so I think everybody wishes it would end soon. And I think what's priced into the market was a quick battle. And that's why, it says in here the S&P 500 only saw about a 5% dip off its all-time high, which really isn't much of a reaction to this conflict. So I think what's been priced in is a quick conflict. And if we don't see this end in the next few weeks, I think we're going to see some instability in the stock market, certainly in the U.S., but also around the world.
Well, I 100% agree. And to your point there, they even mentioned this in the article. And for those of you listening, I mean, the ripple effect of this, the world's largest aluminum smelter in the Middle East, the world's largest, cut their output of aluminum by 20%. That's substantial. And what they talk about is how that alone is going to kind of make its way into the various aspects of the world economy. And just to show you the ripple effect even further, they also talk about how Uber drivers are being more selective on the rides that they accept now because of the cost of gas and where they have to go. And this is just the beginning of it. So if, again, if this continues for another 3 weeks, we still have this disruption like we talked about in our earlier podcast, how if Iran were to start accepting yuan for oil payments, how it would add 7 million barrels a day to India and China's equation there. That is a game changer. But the converse of that, if things like that don't start happening and these oil prices go up, which incidentally, I watch a fair amount of CNBC, and they talk about how 105 for the markets, 105 per barrel oil is kind of, they look at that as a threshold, and like that's where Wall Street really starts to get nervous. But they're talking about oil in short order here, Chris, could be as much as 150 a barrel. So
that's significant.
105 is an issue. 150 is going to be a real issue. So looking at the second article here, might help if I pull it up myself. Kind of a piggyback on the first one, but thanks to the war in Iran, a moment of reckoning has arrived for the entire global economy, just like we're talking about. And it's interesting because, this is obviously all war is serious, but like, it's amazing how you've got Iran in this isolated situation, but to the point of this article, how much the global repercussions, really we're all being faced with. I mean, you've got, like they say, a moment of reckoning here. And as I read through this, and here's again another one that I'm not totally familiar with, you can help me, but what is it? Khamenei, the new leader over in Iran. He says that the threats that they're making, one of which being, he was letting the U.S. know that we should vacate all of our bases over there, and that they have the capability of destroying them. And so, point being, they're not looking to back down anytime soon. And quite to the contrary, they're kind of putting the pedal to the metal at this point. And as you read through what's going on through Hormuz, it's a game. It's like you remember that game we played when we were younger, Battleship. That's what it sounds like. I mean, they're talking about how a lot of the heavy boats, I think heavy equipment boats like battleships, etc., have been destroyed over there of Iran's, but they have mines, smaller boats, plenty of other options, is what they say, that will allow them to prevent any kind of watercraft getting through there. And so this is where, I mean, this moment of reckoning, I think, is really a fair term, and unfortunately something I think we're going to be looking at here sooner versus later, short of something, well, I'm not going to say miraculous, but it might be miraculous ultimately.
Yeah. Well, I think they definitely have proven to be pesky. That's probably not the best word to describe them, but yes, we've been able to take out some of their big ships, a lot of their aircraft, which is great. But they had a ton of drones over there. And that's what we're seeing. A lot of these neighboring nations that are being struck, and U.S. air bases are being struck with these tiny drones that our defenses were really designed to take out bigger things like planes and ships and larger vehicles and things like that. So these little drones fly in, and it reminds me of summer here in Arizona when we get some of our monsoons and we get all these mosquitoes, and they're a pain, right? Like I can keep the bigger bugs out of the house with screens, but it seems like the mosquitoes always find a way in, and I think that's what Iran has going. Yeah, those as well. Yeah, for sure. So I think Iran has that to their advantage. Not to say that they're this large opponent that we should have trouble with, but I just don't think it's going to be quite as easy as people were hoping. And the fact that they can control, at least currently, a lot of the oil movement through there, through the strait, is going to cause problems for us. And so people understand, let's say you have a Tesla, right, or an electric vehicle, and you say, well, I don't really care about gas prices, so this oil shouldn't affect me so much. Well, the real challenge is that oil is used to transport just about all of our goods and services. So it's not just higher fuel, it's transportation costs, which just about anything that you purchase has to be transported to the store that you buy it from or the online warehouse that you order from. And that's the same with our food. And so that's one thing that I think maybe some people don't realize about oil is that when oil prices go up, and they're talking about, towards $150 or $200 a barrel, which is 2 or 3 times where it was before all of this, that can cause a major increase in costs for just about everything that we purchase here in the United States. So it is a big deal.
Yeah, huge deal. And another thing, in speaking to where we're going with this war and when is there going to be an end in sight, again, the current, they call him the Rabar actually over there, Iran's top leader, but it's Mojtaba Khamenei. Chris, I got to really learn how to speak these languages better.
Some of these names are tough.
Let's just say Khamenei. Can we agree on that? You know who I'm talking about.
Sure, deal.
He's the son of the former, who was just recently assassinated, Ali Khamenei. So, what really, if you look at that dynamic, number one, his father was just assassinated. So I'm sure there's some blood brewing there potentially if he liked his father at all. But secondarily to that, we could be faced with or dealing with a situation where the son wants to make his mark. He wants to show that he held his ground, that he is a worthy leader. And that in and of itself can be a very, very dangerous situation that we're dealing with because, he's everything to gain and nothing to lose type situation, unless he wants to become the peacemaker and relinquish all the power that they have. But I can't imagine that's going to happen. So anyway.
Well, it can be a situation of, the devil versus the devil you don't. And, we can take a bad person out, but we really got to be careful that somebody worse or even just as bad doesn't slide right in.
Well, think of all the movies we've watched where there's been, a situation where one leader was taken out and then the next leader was ruthless, more ruthless.
No saint, right.
More insane, correct. I know it's movies, but there's some truth to a lot of movies you see out there. So, all right, well, enough of that. Thank you, Chris. And for those of you tuned in, thanks for doing so. If you're not subscribed to this podcast, please do so, as we'd love to talk to you more in the future. Have a great rest of your day, great rest of your week, and look forward to talking to you again.
Take care.